Hello, I am Beck. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be drawing a D&D character based on the roll of the dice.
Let's bring out the Tower of Destiny!
There's so much to announce right now. First and foremost, my voice sounds weird to me post tonsil surgery. I don't know if it sounds weird to you. If it does, that's why I had my tonsils out and I'm still recovering. But if I sound normal, great. Second on the agenda, we have a new dice tray. And by we, I mean me, because you can't play with it. It's mine. Can you tell that I'm also on a little bit of pain medication as of present? This will be fun. New dice tray. It's shiny and golden and I love it. And we have a new character that I am going to draw, and that is a shifter ranger. So what is a shifter ranger? A shifter is someone with a lycanthrope in their background. And by lycanthrope, I don't just mean werewolf, because in D&D you can also have a werebear or a wereboar or a were-rat. It's fun to say. A were-tiger is also an option. I'm using the dnd5e.wiki.com to get my information on shifters because I didn't want to pay for access. It was behind a paywall on D&D Beyond. But there is a lot of information here, so I'll put the link below and recommend you have a read of it. I don't want to spend a long time just saying exactly what's on the page, but they have a d6 roll to help you determine what your lycanthrope ancestor is, and I did roll that and I got a 5. So I got the classic werewolf, which is a wolf-like werewolf. I'll put the table up here because in order to make it a d6, they added in dog-like. So you have the 4 that aren't werewolves, and then 2 werewolves. One is a wolf, one is a dog. You get it. You get it. It's great. It also means that my character, who I'm going to call Akira, has something called Longtooth, which means she's probably good at biting things. Hold on, where does it say? Longtooth shifters are fierce and aggressive, but they form deep bonds with their friends. Many Longtooth shifters have canine traits that become more pronounced as they shift, but might draw on tigers, hyenas, or other predators. So that's roleplay advice. Your ability score increases, your strength score increases by 2, and your dexterity score increases by 1. Fierce, you have proficiency in the intimidation skill, and your shifting feature, while shifted, you can use your elongated fangs to make an unarmed strike as a bonus action. If you hit with your fangs, you can deal piercing damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier, instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. Bam, that's cool. Now, Akira is also a ranger, which means she's a fantastic hunter, and she mostly uses her hunting skills to protect the forest that she is from. So she's from a forest. That's awesome. Because she's got like the classic werewolf background, I decided to make her one of those like snow wolves. I don't know a lot about wolves. I was mostly looking at pictures and I was looking for a color palette that made me happy, and this is the one that I found, and that's the kind of wolf that I had in mind for her. So I'm thinking like one of those kind of hard to survive in forests because it's cold and snowy, and I don't actually know where. Maybe like somewhere in Canada, Alaska, something. I don't know. Geography. You can tell me where these wolves are from, or where you think she's from. I mean, she's from a fictional place, so let's say that her forest is in a country called Shlubibu. And Shlubibu has really rough terrain and it's very hard to survive there. So people from Shlubibu are hardcore. I've gone off topic. Okay, so as a ranger, some of the classic traits that you get, well, the most important one is favored enemy. Beginning at first level, you have significant experience studying, tracking, hunting, and even talking to a certain type of enemy. And the reason it sort of says even talking to is the type of favored enemies you can choose have things like beasts and dragons and constructs and, you know, fiends, fays, you can read the list, it's a long list. Alternatively, you can select 2 races of humanoid, such as gnolls and orcs, as your favorite enemies, which means you would also be able to speak those 2 languages, whatever they speak. And that would be sort of something you discuss with your DM, so that your DM's actually prepared in a session if they're trying to be mysterious and hide something, but the bad guy is your favorite enemy. They kind of need to tell you that, because otherwise it's misleading if it's something where you're like, oh, you don't understand what this track is or what this language is. You would automatically assume that it's not the thing that you should know everything about. You get it. With favorite enemy, you have advantage on any wisdom survival checks to track your favorite enemies, as well as on intelligence checks to recall information about them. So you would know an awful lot about your favorite enemy. When you gain this feature, language, I already told you about that. At 6th level and 14th level, you can add additional favored enemies. As you gain levels, your choices should reflect the types of monsters you have encountered on your adventures. So it wouldn't make sense at 6th level, say, to say, okay, well now I have a favorite enemy that's a dragon, if you've never actually encountered a dragon, because it wouldn't be your enemy. You don't know if they're good or bad in the context of your game. You get it. You also have a natural explorer. You are particularly familiar with one type of natural environment and are adept at traveling and surviving in such regions. So you have a favored terrain in addition to your favored enemy. And that's just the classic types of terrain. So Arctic, coast, desert, forest, grassland, mountains, swamp, or the Underdark. In this case, I would say that Akira favored terrain is the Arctic. So she would be particularly skilled in that area. Things that contribute to your natural explorer abilities. If you're traveling with your group in the Arctic, difficult terrain doesn't slow your group's travel, which would be an issue otherwise, because snow is hard to travel through. Your group can't become lost except by magical means. Even when you are engaged in another activity while traveling, such as foraging, navigating, or tracking, you remain alert to danger. If you are traveling alone, you can move stealthily at a normal pace. When you forage, you find twice as much food as you normally would. While tracking other creatures, you also learn their exact number, their sizes, and how long ago they passed through the area. You can choose additional favorite terrain types at level 6 and level 10. Great. Fighting style. At level 2, you adopt a particular style of fighting as your specialty. There are a bunch of options. Mine, Akira's, is going to be archery because I drew her with a bow and arrow. Bam! That means you get a +2 bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons. Now there are a few ranger archetypes. This one, Akira, is going to be a hunter. And you get different things at different levels. Hunter's Prey is, I guess, one of the main starting things. At level 3, you gain one of the following features of your choice: Colossus Slayer, Giant Killer, or Horde Breaker. And each of them has more details, which I don't want to read because I feel like I do a lot of reading and not a lot of making up their backstory, which is the more fun part. So we're going to skip to that. Now, normally I would go through each of the abilities stats and explain what I think that means in terms of her background, but I think by now we all understand what it means to be strong or dexterous, or have a high or low constitution, or have intelligence versus wisdom versus, and then charisma. We know what they mean. So looking at the abilities, she's particularly strong. She doesn't have a particularly high constitution. She has above average in everything else, so I think she was raised really well. That said, I think that she was raised among a pack of lycanthropes, so probably all werewolves, like a full werewolf pack, and she would know other shifters just by virtue of the fact that there would be other families that are mixed with like lycanthrope, like a purebred lycanthrope with a human or whatever. I think that maybe she has like an elf for a mum and a werewolf for a dad, and it's just a really loving family that nurtured her, because all of these above average skills usually to me indicates that she's had the freedom to nurture her gifts, and she's had someone who supported her while she was trying to learn things. And so especially with a higher charisma means that she is quite social. Even if it's to intimidate people, it means that you've had experience being around people. So I went back in and added extra muscle on her arm because I kind of forgot that her highest stat was strength. But I think it came out looking pretty good anyway, because a lot of, particularly when we're talking about a female body structure, being strong doesn't always show as huge muscles. It's usually just like the tone, having a toned body. Anyway, I'm sidetracking. She had a good upbringing. She has a big family, some of whom turn into wolves when the moon is full. And yeah, I think she would want to go on an adventure just because it's almost like a dare from her brothers and sisters. Like, get out, see the world, it's pretty cool, I dare you. And she's like, okay. And just like runs off, and that's how her adventure begins. And at a certain point she feels like she doesn't want to go back until she has these amazing stories to tell the rest of her family. And I think she would join an adventuring party just by virtue of like, she's used to having a pack with her. She's used to having backup and friends and someone to talk to. And I think she's just a very social, kind of up for anything character. Yeah, I think she would have a lot of fun adventuring. And I think, unlike most adventurers who maybe get a reality check when they start having to kill things or their life is on the line, I think Akira, having grown up around werewolves, is used to a certain level of savagery in her life. So she's very much the kind of bring it on kind of person. And I like how she turned out. I don't know if it was necessary to give her a tail. I don't think it looks as wolfy as it should, but she has a tail and it's cute and funny. So yeah, this is Akira, and I hope you like her. And I'm sorry this video, especially vocals, are a little bit crazy. Next week might be better. It might not be. Like, painkillers aside, I'm just in a weird mood. So I might also be in a weird mood next week. We'll find out. What do you guys think of Akira? And what important information about shifters and or rangers have I just completely not even read about? Or let me know where I've stuffed up, because I probably have, let's be real. And if I'm interested to know if you are watching this video to learn things about D&D versus if you're watching this video knowing more than me about D&D and then just like quietly seething that I'm getting stuff wrong. Or are you like in the middle where you don't really care and you're like me where you kind of just like to make stuff up? Let me know in the comments. Yeah. Ooh, tonsils are out. That's great for me. I'm gonna go have a nap. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will catch you next week. Yeah, have a good one. Bye.